In our classrooms, we do a lot with different cultures, and you'll see when you look in a Montessori classroom, very often we tend to attract different cultural groups as families as well as our teachers. Montessori appeals to people from many different cultures. Within our classrooms, we celebrate culture. We do so in many different ways, starting with the maps. The map activity is introducing this idea that there are other places in the world.
Nigeria. This is Miss Lola's country. She was born in Nigeria.
To even young children who can't make the abstract connection, because this is still a two-dimensional representation of, for example, a continent. And you can't teach a child that until they're ready to understand it, but they can learn the name of it. They can learn the shape of it. They can learn to identify it. And so you're looking at Africa. In Africa, there are many different countries and many different people who live in Africa, and they have different things that they eat. What are some things that they eat? What's the temperature like in Africa? Is it very hot? Is it very cold? Depends on where you are. We have activities and baskets within each classroom that have objects that represent different cultures, photographs, pictures, all different, as many different ways as we can have, as many different senses as we can reach to introduce children to these different concepts that are very abstract. And then also talking about the reality that many people in Africa will wear the same kinds of clothes that you and I wear, but their traditional clothes look very different. And we have a student teacher who's from Nigeria, and she brought the traditional wraps, the traditional dress from Nigeria, and she dressed several children. She brought versions of it that the children could wear, and they did a dance from Nigeria. She had special music she brought in. She brought in things for them to taste, trying to help children to touch each of the 5 senses with anything that we're presenting, especially in a cultural context, because it's so visceral. To go to Nigeria would be the ideal. We can't go to Nigeria. So how can we bring Nigeria, this far away, abstract concept, to this little classroom right here, because we have someone who can bring these experiences to us. And so it's fun to see the children then connecting, making that connection. Oh, this tastes like this tastes like couscous. I heard them saying about one of the things that she brought in for them to taste, and the fact that they know what couscous is. Somewhere along the line, whether it's at home or at school, they've had, again, another experience that helped them to be aware of different flavors in the world. But they make those connections, and they can relate them. They can understand that there are different places in the world, that people do things differently. Another nice tie is that there are Montessori schools around the world. And so one of the questions that they asked Miss Damilola, the teacher who is from Nigeria, they asked her, do children go to Montessori school where you come from? And she said yes. And does their school look just like our school? And she said no, it looks a little bit different, but it has many of the same things. And so it's giving them this idea that things are different but the same, and things are different and the same. And how are they different, and how are they the same? We need to look at our street and help the child go from really what's very concrete to them. Yes, our school. Our school is on a street. What's around our school? And then we're near Chicago, which is a much bigger city, and we're in the state of Illinois. And we keep going out and out and out and out. And so then we can get to, we're in the continent of North America, we're in the northern hemisphere. We can take it to many different levels, but really helping them to go from the very concrete to the very abstract in a natural progression of concepts done over time. You can't give all of that in one day. It's really a longer sequence that has to be done over the course of the entire school year even. But this idea that there are other people out there who live in other places, who are doing different things and who do things different ways, is really a sensitivity that will help them throughout their lives and throughout their experiences.
Okay, my friend, this is a special outfit from Nigeria. It's called Iro and Buba. For the young girls,
they can see that Miss Damilola speaks with a different accent. And do you speak another language? Yes, I speak another language, the language of my tribe. And she gave the language of her tribe. What is a tribe? And having to talk about all these different concepts that we don't have here, but just that awareness of it. And of course you have children trying to relate to it at the same time. I speak a different language at home, or Miss Nellie, the teacher, Miss May, speaks a different language too, and what are those languages? We're giving them a different perspective of what their world includes. And that's really one of the bigger ideals of Montessori, is helping to open up the world to the child.